So the next part is the direction of the current game here. You'll probably starting off with just a few of these points, but as you end a game and then start a new game, the points keep adding up and adding up. So I have pretty well a full range here, except for 2 points actually. So I'm just going to leave them there. You can choose whichever you like, whatever you think is more important to you. I don't know the exact effect that this has on the game. I think all it really does is every once in a while you get a notification that says people really like your games that have high cuteness. So if you have a game that has, 10 points in the cuteness category, they're going to be saying that they really like it, and then your popularity is going to go up and you're going to get more fans and you're going to sell more. So I think that's really the only effect it has on the game. So we're going to move along here, and it says, congratulations on starting your first game. Who should we have write the game proposal? So I should point out here that there is 3 sections to creating your game. The first one is at the very first point here, where you have to choose someone to write the proposal, and you want to use a scenario writer. I have John Gamerson, and if you click on the arrow to the right, you can see another 2 people. Josh Slackerville, he is not an employee. He's going to cost you more money to use, as your own employees are free to use. You can see that Josh is not an employee because at the top right corner it says out. Your employees will say in. And the next guy is Mark Jersey. He is also out. He's not one of your employees, and you can see he has fairly high. He's going to cost a lot more. His scenario is 48 points, so he's pretty good. But we're going to stick with our own man, John Gamerson. Alright, he says, I see, a puzzle game. Okay, I'll think of something interesting. And now he's going to start developing some points here, and right here I'll point out the symbols here. The first one there looks like a little game controller, like a Super Nintendo controller. That is your game fun. Probably the most important of all your points is the fun. The second one, I don't know, it's like an orange or something, it's a little yellow ball. That's your creativity. Fairly important as well. They're all important, but of course fun is the most important thing about any video game. Anyone should know that. The third one there is a little paint palette with a little paintbrush. That is your graphics. And the fourth one, the little trumpet, is your sound. It's good to have even levels as far as things go. As things get further into the game, you'll be getting points in the hundreds, so you don't really need to focus on leveling things out right now, but just getting games out and growing your employees and making a little bit of money. So let's move along. He's finished now, and I got 3, 5, 0s, and 0, which is fine for the beginning of the game, but further, maybe 10 years down the road, you're going to be getting 50 to start for each of those. So alright, it's time to start game development. Good luck. Alright, so if we just sit here for a minute, you guys are going to have little things popping out of their heads here, and as you can see, the little development points, and at the bottom of the screen you can see the numbers going up in respect to each of those symbols. Now in the bottom left corner, you can see the % sign. That's how much of the game has been completed. When that reaches 40%, the first stage of development will be done. So let's get there. Alright, so I'm at 20% now, and it says, because the game's direction and genre match, puzzle has increased to level 4. So every time you get a genre and type that match, they will level up, and then your development team will be able to develop for that type of genre or type even better. So the higher the level, the better that will be. So moving along. Alright, so the alpha version of your current game is now finished. It's time to really start working on the graphics. So now we're going to move into beta development, and we need to choose someone who will design the graphics. Now, we didn't have anyone to do graphics for us, so we have 2 people that we have to outsource. We have Steve Kingley. He's got 24 for graphics, and Jake Kirby, who is 48. His cost is $95,000, whereas Steve Kingley is $10,000. But I have $1.5 million in the bank, so I think I'm going to use Jake Kirby. He says, "It's an honor to work for you. I'm sure I can come up with some designs that are just perfect for an animal game." And he starts developing that. We're done, and we have 2 points, 2 points, 9 points, and 0 for sound. Alright, so now we're at 80%, and we've developed a few more points, as you can see by looking at the bottom of the screen there. They're up a little bit higher. So the beta version is done now, and we need to focus on sound. So this is the third part of the game. You can either choose a sound engineer on your staff or outsource it, just like all of the other ones. So we have 2 sound engineers on staff, as you know, and there's also 2 that we can outsource that'll be a little bit better if we want. But it is cheaper to use your own employees, and we have them for a reason, so let's use one of them. Our first employee is Android with sound at 26 points, and California with sound at 13 points. I think I'm going to use Android for that. But we can also see that we have Beethoven, at 28 points that we can hire, and Mozart at 54 points that we can hire. We're just going to stick with Android. So she's excited to go. It's finally her turn at bat, it says. So let's do this. Alright. So she got me 21 points for sound. That's great, actually, for a first time. Alright, so now that we've reached 100%, you can see now where the percent sign was. It says debugging. That is the very last part of the game. You can skip it and send it out with bugs, which I've never even done, not even since the first time I played. There's no point. You just give it a minute and all the bugs will be gone. So let's do that. Start the debugging process. Each time you fix a bug, you will get research data, which you can use to level up your staff. As I said, research data is super important, and you can see I have 146 right now because I haven't really used much. And it says also on the game information screen you have the option to ship a game without fixing all of the bugs, but let's not do that. Alright, so bugs are being destroyed. You can see the little poof in the air. Our company's first game is finally complete. This one has high sound, but is low in everything else. So you can see this is pretty much all about the game. 15 fun, 14 creativity, 26 in graphics, and 29 in sound. The puzzle animal game for PC. So you can change the title. I like to always change the titles. Otherwise it just says game number 1, game number 2, game number 3. So if you click on change title, it gives you the option. Of course, it has to be up to 14 characters and no higher. I kind of wish it was more, because that would be really fun, but deal with what you gotta do. So I'm going to call this one Puzzle Moles. Alright, so PC game Puzzle Moles. So the next thing that happens is you get magazine reviews for them. And these become very important later on in the game, but right now we're just trying to pump out some games and make some money and do that sort of thing. So you can see I got a total of 15 points, and it goes up to 40 points, as each magazine can give you 10 points each, if it is the best game ever. So 15 is fine for starting. Don't even worry about it. Don't get discouraged. You'll be doing better later. Your secretary kind of bugs you and says, those aren't great scores. Hopefully no one else cares and it sells. So of course you do sell a few, but alright, so as you first release your game, you finally get some fans by getting your game out there. And it says you can start advertising to get your name out there a little bit more. I'm not going to advertise quite yet. I like to make a little bit more money because advertising can get very expensive. But here you can see my fans have grown, and all the fans are in different age groups. This is very important, as later in the game you'll be getting hundreds of fans in each age group and gender. So as a few years pass, obviously the people who are between 5 and 12 will eventually move in to the 13 to 18 age group, and the 41 plus will, well, I guess, die. So they disappear, and all the points will move down, and new people will take over the kindergarten to 12-year-old age group. And that can affect your fans. and your sales. So that's sort of the time where you want to start advertising, so you make up for the people that are lost and you gain more fans by advertising.